Thank you for joining us today to honor colleagues, friends, family, and to be part of the special celebration. As I just asked, those who are presenting, well, everybody should stay muted, please. We've got a big crowd, and those who are presenting will be muted and unmuted by the co-hosts as we're ready to go. The recommendation is to set your screen view options to side by side so that you can see the slides as well as the gallery view, so you could see a few people at a time. Also, as you might have noticed, we are recording today's event so that we can share it with people who can't be here today for the celebration. I know as we wind down this, what has been a very long semester, no spring break, after more than a year of mostly virtual communication, we get that there's Zoom fatigue. So I'm especially grateful that you're joining us today during these unique and challenging times for both the country and community. I think this is one of the positive things of Zoom, is that we can bring so many people together in this format to have a celebration of all of the important contributions in teaching, research, and creative work, as well as public outreach that occur in the college. Often, individuals who contribute most prominently to the campus and college mission do so quietly in their own humble manner, going about their way. And today, we're not going to let them hide. We will be spotlighting and highlighting them in today's program in order to pay tribute to these very important individuals. As we honor many of our colleagues for the years of service, teaching, mentorship, connection with our community, and excellence in performance, I want to acknowledge that these colleagues are merely representative of numerous outstanding faculty and staff across the college. This year, we'll be recognizing our faculty retirees, recipients of our Staff Excellence Awards, the John Toll Endowed Award for Excellence in Teaching, the Godfrey Excellence in Teaching Awards, as well as the SUNY Chancellors Awards for Excellence recipients. And finally, we'll be acknowledging the graduating seniors from my Student Advisory Council who are with us, some of whom are with us today. The college is saying farewell to several of our colleagues, those who have retired this year or will be retiring in the end of this month. Many thanks to our faculty and staff retirees for all that you have done, and congratulations on the next phase of your careers and lives. I would love advice on what I can do in my retirement. Some of our retirees have relocated to different parts of the country. Some had other commitments at this busy time of year. So some will be with us today and we will honor them shortly. The following retirees could not join us today, and I would like to acknowledge them. Michael Anderson from the Department of Mathematics, Robert Bloomer from the Department of European Languages, Literatures, and Cultures, Dennis Clark from the Program in Writing and Rhetoric, Denny Hill from the Department of Mathematics, John Luttermy from the Department of Theater Arts, Brad Tooker from the Department of Chemistry, and Patricia Whitaker from the Department of Psychology. Each of today's honorees is featured in our program that is available on the CAS website, so please take a look at your convenience. Now, I'd like to continue today's presentation by introducing Peter Tong, who's Distinguished Professor of Chemistry and Chair of the Department of Chemistry, who will speak on behalf of Stephen Koch, who is retiring from the Department of Chemistry. So Peter, over to you.
Thanks, Nicole. Professor Steve Koch joined the Department of Chemistry at Stony Brook in 1978, following a PhD at MIT and subsequent postdoctoral studies at Texas A&M and Cornell. Steve is an inorganic chemist and trained with some of the giants of this field, including Dick Holm and Al Cotton. Steve has made numerous contributions to the research and teaching mission of the department. He established an outstanding research program in areas such as bioinorganic chemistry, in which he sought to understand how metalloproteins bind and control the activity of metals, such as iron and nickel. He has also been an exceptional teacher and has taught our inorganic chemistry courses at all levels. Great teachers use multiple approaches to engage their classes, and in Steve's case, he often included references to the history of chemistry in his lectures. For example, he claims that Dr. Frankenstein was the first synthetic chemist because of the claim by some that Mary Shelley based the character of Dr. Frankenstein on the mad alchemist Conrad Dippel, who was one of the inventors of Prussian blue. Steve is the academic advisor to our chemistry majors and minors, and he also provides advice about courses and curriculum to the non-majors who take general chemistry and organic chemistry courses. This is a huge job since we teach thousands of students each year in chemistry. One of my personal highlights of our departmental commencement ceremony is when Steve introduces each student in the graduating class and tells a personal anecdote about them. Steve has contributed to the chemistry community in many ways. With his wife and chemistry faculty member, Professor Michelle Millar, who sadly passed away in 2011, he endowed a named lecture series to bring in outstanding speakers to the department. This lecture series is named the Franklin Lecture, and I thought at first that this might be named for Rosalind Franklin, one of the discoverers of the structure of DNA, but in fact, apparently it's named after the founding father, Ben Franklin, and so speakers get a framed $100 bill as part of their honorarium. Steve has also worked assiduously with the American Chemical Society to promote science and scientists at all stages of their careers. Lastly, I can share a personal anecdote. I first met Steve when I interviewed for a position at Stony Brook. After the standard grueling 14-hour day, Steve drove me home and I was expecting just to be dropped off, but we sat in his car for an hour talking. And during this talk, he conveyed his deep love for chemistry and for Stony Brook. I'll always remember that. Steve has been an outstanding member of our department, and we will miss him and wish him all the best for the next stage of his life.
Thank you, Peter, and congratulations, Steve, on the next part of your journey. And hi, Jane, nice to see you. Let me next introduce Paul Gutenberg, Distinguished Professor of History, who will be speaking on behalf of 3 retirees. And I'll turn it over to you, Paul. And you need to unmute.
There I am. Okay, thanks, Nicole. Year after year doing this about retirements, I'm beginning to feel like a character in that classic Disney film, Honey, I Shrunk the History Department. But yes, I'm here again to talk to you about 3 faculty who made a huge difference, 3 retiring professors from history, and that is Ned Landsman, whose photo is up there right now, Brooke Larson, and Iona Manchung. Some of you might know the history department has been going through the past few years a major wave of retirements. No less than 8 of our senior faculty are retiring. And these people, if you think of them collectively, their experience at Stony Brook, we're talking about hundreds of years of dedication to the institution. No wonder we sometimes refer to them, I guess jokingly, ironically, as the greatest generation. That is, the people who through their decades of excellent scholarship, fantastic teaching, and especially deep collegiality, their commitment to this community made the history department what it is today. I should say parenthetically that probably my most central, painful regret about the challenges of the past year and a half of COVID and Zoom everything is that we really have never gotten the opportunity to have a real, proper, honorable, face-to-face celebration of each of these retirees the way that we used to do as a department and as a community. And I'm hoping that next year at some time we'll figure out a genre to properly mark your passage into a different realm, as it were. Anyway, let me just quickly say a few words about the remarkable feats of each of you, as I promise to expand these in the celebrations next year. Now, Ned Landsman, whose time at Stony Brook actually stretches back to the roaring 70s. I think you were hired in 1979, right on the cusp of your dissertation. Ned is a pioneering scholar in Atlantic history. In fact, I think Ned really put us on the map as a department over the decades, because this was an entirely new way of thinking about historical spaces, and is now an established field, thanks to people like Ned and other proteges who are now in the department. Ned has always been an extraordinary doer and giver to the department, including 2 terms as chair, where he was wise and discerning and a great mentor to many of us, including myself. And he's unusual as an American historian, a US historian, who's also a specialist in all things Scottish. So I can't help but mention the strange and unforgettable old haggis parties, which seem to have fallen by the wayside in recent years. I don't want to speculate why. Okay. Anyway, Ned fortunately will be hanging around Stony Brook still over the next couple of years, as he has been appointed a Toll professor. And congratulations, Ned, on that and for your decades and decades of work at Stony Brook. So let me turn next to Brooke Larson, and there she is, photo at least of Brooke right there, whose time in the department stretches more back, I think, to the middle of the 1980s, and with whom I've had the tremendous privilege of sharing a very close collegial relationship as a fellow Latin Americanist and also Andean scholar. Who would think that this institution would have housed 2 people focused on such an obscure, important area of the world as the Andes? Now, Brooke, with her tremendous passion and dedication for quality graduate training, has led the way over the decades to the tremendous global glory and fame of Stony Brook's PhD in Latin American history in particular.
Want me to make the mac and cheese? Yeah.
And I would, for example, she has had, we have graduated something like 40 to 50 PhDs since the 1990s, not to mention dozens of high prestige fellowships. And many of these students of Brooks have gone on to illustrious, important scholarly careers of their own throughout the Americas. And I can't stop without, at this point, mentioning as well Brooks' role in the founding of LACS, that is the Latin American and Caribbean Studies Center at Stony Brook University, which is still going and we hope will still be going strong over the years. So again, congratulations and thank you very much for everything you've given to Stony Brook over the years. This can't possibly express the gratitude that we feel as a department. And finally, not least, I did them in order of the year of when they arrived, is Iona Manchung, whose picture is up there now, and who only arrived at Stony Brook in the early 1990s. In fact, I still think I remember your job talk, because I was here already, and who almost single-handedly has carried the torch of serious scholarship in the study of Chinese history at Stony Brook University for the past 3 decades. So literally speaking, thousands of students have taken their DEC courses. Now, I guess the DEC will fade into history with Iona, and who also inspired them in a personal fashion with her own cosmopolitan background and perspectives on the world, and who we hope now has paved the way for our next coming soon historian of China, an extremely important area of the world. Okay, well, anyway, I'm going to end here by just, making a great understatement, which is that all 3 of you have made a huge difference to our department, our university, and literally generations of students and scholars. And in a sense, you're all irreplaceable to use a specific word, though we're counting on Dean Sampson to somehow find a way to actually replace every single one of you in the next few years. Okay, anyway, thank you for this opportunity to say something about our highly esteemed colleagues in history.
Thank you, Paul, and duly noted, and best wishes to Ned, Brooke, and Iona, and thank you for all that you've done. Let me next introduce Don Widener, Distinguished Professor of Geosciences and also Director of the Mineral Physics Institute. Oops. You are unmuted, Don. I mean, sorry, you're muted. You need to unmute.
I thought I clicked it, missed it. I'm happy to be here today celebrating the retirement of Michael Vaughn and honoring the difference that he has made at Stony Brook over the last 3 decades as a research professor in the Mineral Physics Institute. Michael joined us in 1989 after a decade in Chicago as a faculty member and in Hawaii as a postdoc. Mike earned his PhD at Stony Brook in the late 70s in the geosciences after a master's degree in physics from Cincinnati. Well, as a human, Mike has a few characteristics that define him. Whenever you make a statement to Mike, he invariably responds with a question, namely, why? You soon realize that the question is not meant to challenge your statement, but is rather a request to obtain more information about your statement. And I believe that this question may lie behind his ability to have gathered a huge amount of information covering a wide range of topics, including how things work, both from mechanical to electrical to software. And another characteristic is the let's do it attitude. No hurdle is too big or too small. It simply must be overcome and overcome soon. Well, after Mike arrived to begin his research faculty position in '89, we established a high pressure lab at the Brookhaven synchrotron. And after 30 years, that program has continued to grow, always doing new things that we never before considered possible, using tools that Mike has brought to life. And this program has been the source of hundreds of publications and millions of dollars of research, not to mention many insights about the deep earth. So here we honor Mike, thank Mike, and wish him well in the days ahead. My only question is, why? Why don't you stay another decade? But things are as they are, and best of luck, Mike.
Thank you, Don, and best wishes, Mike. Thank you for all that you've done. Next, I'd like to introduce Axel Dries, who is Distinguished Professor of Physics and Astronomy.
Okay, so it's my honor and pleasure to introduce to you Distinguished Professor Peter Stevens, who is retiring, but who will continue to be engaged in the department for the next couple of years. I had the pleasure to work with him for the past 20-some years, and got to know him as, one of the exemplar colleagues in the department that really make the department a very, very collegial department. So let me tell you a little bit about Peter. Peter, like so many faculty in the sciences, joined Stony Brook because of the opportunities that Brookhaven National Lab provides in terms of research facilities. In his case, that was the National Synchrotron Light Source, which was under construction when Peter joined the department in 1980. That has worked out very well for him for the 40+ years that he has been at Stony Brook, and it continues to do so. With the synchrotron radiation from the light source, he studied the relationship between the atomic structure and the material properties over a broad range of systems and materials that resulted in over 250 papers, most of them collaborative with synthetic chemists who produced the material, and then Peter determined what the structure of those materials are. During his time, he has served as a member on the National Committee on Crystallography and served 2 terms as chair of the National Synchrotron Light Source User Organization. For his scientific contributions, he was elected a fellow of the American Physics Society and the American Association for the Advancement of Science. He was awarded the Chancellor's Award. He was recognized by the Barnett Award for X-ray diffraction, and finally was elected to the SUNY Distinguished Academy of Professors. Peter is also a dedicated teacher. He taught a broad range of the curriculum, from core courses in the graduate program through introductory physics courses, and for physics courses, for example, on music for non-science majors. He also served the department as graduate program director for 7 years. That's actually how I met him when I joined the department as a junior faculty. And he was associate dean, I think, in 3 different positions over 6 years in the College of Arts and Sciences. So let me wish you well, Peter, and I'm looking forward to working with you over the next couple of years.
Thank you, Axel, and best wishes, Peter, and hi, Bonnie. Looking forward to seeing you just doing research in the next couple of years. Next up, I'd like to introduce Professors Dan Klein and Artie Samuel, co-chairs of the Department of Psychology and both distinguished professors themselves, who will be speaking on behalf of the retirees in their department.
Shall I start with Marilyn? Okay, so we have 2 retirees in staff, actually, yeah, 2. I'll talk about Marilyn Moleman. So Marilyn joined the psychology department in 2005, and it gives me great personal pleasure to say a few words about Marilyn, because I had at the time just begun as graduate director in our department, and Marilyn came in as the graduate program coordinator. So the 2 of us sort of made it up as we went along, tried to figure out how to do what we needed to do, and Marilyn was spectacular in getting it done. She and I sort of invented and developed the procedures that we would use to keep track of students, make sure they were doing well. And one of the things that's been striking over the last 16 years is the extent to which Marilyn has come to sort of own the tasks and is now, and has been now for years, the one who just does the things that need to be done, with a focus always on what do the students need to succeed? What do they have to be doing now? What do they have to be doing next semester? She's kept track of literally hundreds of students across 4 PhD programs. And part of the growth that one has seen in Marilyn over the time she's been the graduate coordinator is not only her taking charge of all of these things, but literally the growth of responsibilities as we added a master's program, and she helped to keep those students going, as the clinical program needed help in accreditation and just things that need to be done for their students. And Marilyn has done all of these things, has done them extremely well. And I'm not quite sure how we're going to get by without her, but she has definitely earned this retirement, the rest that she has ahead, and the adventures she has ahead. I know she has big plans to head back to her West Coast roots. And I wish her only the best in that. And the department has been very fortunate to have you around Marilyn for the last 16 years. Best wishes going forward.
So our department has been hit hard this year with 2 staff retirements, and our second retiree is Carol Carlson. So Carol joined the psychology department at Stony Brook in 1988. That's also when I came, so we were rookies together in the class of '88. In 1991, she became the department's undergraduate advisor and served in that role until her retirement last month. Carol oversaw the progress of literally tens of thousands of majors over the course of her 30 years, building files, reviewing transcripts, updating progress sheets for every one of our majors. And she met personally with a great many of them, often multiple times, advising them on how to complete the major and on many, many more things. Carol also picked some of our most promising students to serve as interns in her office, where they played ancillary roles in advising their peers. She represented the department at orientations and admitted student stays day for year after year, developed peer study groups, created materials to help students prepare for graduate school and careers, and to develop better study habits and time management skills. Carol's not only a warm and caring and dedicated individual, but she also has remarkable tenacity. As an example, she was a mainstay on our department's intramural softball team. And in one game, she fell and broke her collarbone, but continued playing until the end of the game in order to keep the team from having to forfeit. For over a generation, Carol has been a significant influence on thousands of Stony Brook students, offering support and counsel at a critical stage in their development and having a lasting impact on their lives and careers. All of us in the department are very grateful for her dedication and her contributions, and we all wish her the very best in her retirement.
Thank you, Dan and Artie. And Carol and Marilyn are 2 of those staff who are so humble that we couldn't highlight them because they don't have cameras on. So best wishes to both of you in your retirement. I'm sure you will have lots of interesting things to take on based on what I know. Next up, I'd like to introduce Danielle Danielle, it's late in the day. Papaspiru.
Yes, you got it.
We'll be introducing the Staff Excellence Awardees.
Okay. Hi, everyone. It's great to see so many of you here tonight to celebrate these awards. We are very happy to have received a lot of nomination letters for our staff members. How it works is the recipients of last year's awards help select this year's by looking over those letters. So this year's winners for the Staff Excellence Awards are Libby Tolson, Liz Fish, and AprilMasano. The first recipient of the award is Libby Tolson, and here to speak on behalf of Libby is Sarah Jordan.
Thank you, and congratulations to Libby. There is no one more deserving of the CAS Staff Excellence Award than Libby. European Languages got the best possible gift 4 years ago when Libby was assigned to our department as ATC. And you have to understand that Libby is much more than the ATC. Libby is our undergraduate assistant, our graduate assistant, our budget person, our event planner, and of course, the best baker ever. So yay to Libby. She's a one-woman show. And she doesn't just work for European Languages, she helps out other departments too. She helps on PTC files, she's helped navigate the new Slate system. She's really been all around fantastic for us and for everyone on campus. And quite honestly, I would be lost without Libby. So thank you, Libby. I want to read, I know I have limited time, so I just want to read 2 little things that 2 people wrote in their letters of recommendation. And I got many, many letters to support Libby's nomination. One was from Loredana Polizzi, who is the new endowed chair of Italian and Italian American Studies. And she wrote, quote, "I know for a fact that I would literally not be here if it were not for Libby." That's quite a statement about how important Libby is to this campus and how important her contributions are. And then from our master's student, Antonio Fideleo, he said something somewhat similar. He wrote, "Ms. Tolson is the reason why I am a student at Stony Brook University. And he goes on to describe all the numerous ways that she helped him get here from Italy. And he notes that she has an open door policy. That was pre-pandemic. Now she's got an open cell phone policy. She's available to everyone to help everyone out. So you know that when your faculty and your students say that your ATC is the reason why they have come to Stony Brook, you know she deserves an award. So congratulations, Libby, you deserve this.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, the next recipient of this award is Liz Fish, and here to speak on behalf of Liz are Dan Klein and Artie Samuel.
Okay, I'll say a few words about Liz. It's a great pleasure to recognize Liz Fish, building manager extraordinaire. Liz came to Stony Brook in 2012. Her job is complex and demanding. She manages the 2 psychology buildings, which are among the oldest on campus and among those in greatest disrepair. Liz takes the time and makes the effort to know all the members of the psychology department and the several other units occupying space in the psychology buildings. She understands what people need to do their work and is intimately familiar with the building's various problems and vulnerabilities. Liz draws on this knowledge to anticipate who is going to be affected by whatever renovations are planned or underway, and by the frequent unplanned disruptions such as power outages and leaks. And she takes the initiative to minimize interference and damage. Liz has truly been a rock during the past year throughout all the challenges posed by COVID-19. Together with our ATC, Cindy Foreman, Liz led the efforts to modify our space to ensure the safety of faculty, staff, and students, and to obtain PPE for all of our labs. Liz is an excellent problem solver. She also has outstanding interpersonal and communication skills. She's unfailingly kind, tactful, and understanding in interacting with faculty, staff, and students. And she's also very effective in interfacing with the relevant campus units to represent our needs and to coordinate efforts to maintain our facilities. Liz's contributions to the campus go beyond her role as building manager. She's secretary for the Arts and Sciences Executive Committee. She serves on the Lab Safety Council. She's a member of the Leveraging Existing Infrastructure Working Group for the Financial Sustainability Steering Committee. And finally, Liz is an extraordinarily talented chef. And fortunately for us, she's very generous in sharing her gifts with the department and for other members of the campus community. So thank you, Liz.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, the final recipient of the Staff Excellence Award is AprilMasano, and here to speak for April is Peter Tong.
Thanks. AprilMasano is a wonderful member of our department, and I'm delighted to speak on her behalf. She is currently the Director of Chemistry Facilities and Operations, a position she has occupied since coming to Stony Brook in 2015. In this position, she has full supervisory responsibility for the chemistry building, including the electronics shop, NMR facility, instructional support personnel, research and instructional operations, and our facility planning and management. She also oversees our business operations and budget planning. She is knowledgeable, extremely hardworking, and very dedicated to the faculty, students, and department. I'm going to just give 3 very brief examples to show how she's served the department since I have been chair, when I became chair in 2019. So one of the first things we did together was to deal with the Thanksgiving Day flood, which occurred on the morning of Thanksgiving 2019. This flood occurred on the 6th floor and water drained all the way through the building out of the main entrance. So despite the fact it was Thanksgiving Day, April was soon in the building, and she spent many hours over the entire Thanksgiving weekend working assiduously to diagnose the problem, catalog the many areas that were affected, assess damage, and coordinate the overall cleanup efforts. She did all this and still managed to prepare lasagna for the family Thanksgiving feast. Subsequently, she worked closely with CPDC to manage and organize the cleaning and renovation of the many offices, labs, and corridors that were impacted by the flood. The building continues to suffer from problems on an almost daily basis. However, April remains ever vigilant and always responds professionally and promptly to every situation in which she has to work with the many service engineers and contractors that enter the building. April has extensive experience in project management and construction management activities. This is proven especially critical and invaluable to understanding and navigating the many challenges we face with working with the SUNY Construction Fund and their architects who are preparing an extremely complicated renovation of our building. And most recently, during the COVID-19 emergency, April offered much practical advice on the logistics of safely reopening our buildings and laboratories. Her impact during this time went beyond the chemistry department. And for example, she aided campus administration in developing a protocol for external vendors to visit buildings. We have always valued April's judgment, but never more so than during this crisis, when she was crucial to the safe restart of our research and teaching activities. The department is extremely grateful for her service. She is a true professional, an absolute pleasure to work with, and an outstanding recipient of a Staff Excellence Award.
Thank you. And I just want to say congratulations again to all three awardees and to everyone else out there. Being good with food is not a requirement, but it does seem to be a theme. So much appreciated, that extra bit of effort feeding everybody. Next up, we're going to award the Godfrey Excellence in Teaching Awards. These awards are named in honor of our longtime colleague, the late Aaron Bill Godfrey, whose 52-year career at Stony Brook impacted the lives of so many students. And thanks to Bill's generous support, each awardee will receive a $1,500 prize for research, travel, teaching, or other professional use. Each year, students in the college are invited to nominate faculty members who demonstrate excellence in teaching, a warm spirit, and true mentorship for students in and outside the classroom. This year, nearly 100 nominations were submitted, and my Student Advisory Council deliberated via Zoom to select the final recipients, one in each of 5 disciplines. And 5 members of the council are here with us today: Zaria Shaikh, Alice Moe, Kimberly Ferrafino, Chelsea Rahman, and Jade Nine. And they've joined us to honor our award recipients. They will read excerpts from the wonderful nominations submitted, and I will turn it over to you, Zaria.
So I'll start here. While it has been challenging since March 2020, I am very thankful to have Ellen Broslow as my mentor. It has been a difficult year for me, not only because of the pandemic, but also because of the political unrest back home in Hong Kong. I cannot imagine how else I would get to the stage without help from Ellen, both academically and personally. In our weekly meetings, not only did she help me develop my dissertation topic, but she also checked in on my mental health and made sure I was working without overwhelming myself. Thanks to her, I was able to complete my dissertation proposal and successfully defended it in the summer of 2020. While I have taken her courses before, I am very impressed with how amazing she is as a teacher. For example, there's a student with visual impairment, and one component of the course is to identify sounds from reading spectrograms. Ellen has been proactive in finding ways to create alternatives for the student so as not to deprive his learning opportunity. She reached out to the electrical engineering department for the possibility of getting the spectrograms printed in 3D. As someone who aspires to be an educator upon graduation, Ellen is a living example of what an educator should be, and I've learned so much from working with her. Thank you.
Thank you, Zaria, and congratulations, Ellen. It's really nice to see you. I wish I could give you a big hug. All right. Next up, Alice Moe will present the next Godfrey Award.
Congratulations to Professor Stephanie Dinkins from the Fine Arts in the Department of Art. The following is an excerpt from a student nomination. Stephanie Dinkins is one of the best professors I had at this university. Her assignments are thought out and well planned so that each one of us can slowly adjust to the more challenging aspects of the curriculum that lies ahead of us. Many times I ran into issues with my projects and assignments, and she has stayed with me after class or during office hours to guide me towards a solution or to give me helpful advice that I would have otherwise not reached. She is also one of the most understanding professors I had during the pandemic. As an international student, I struggle with the time difference for my online classes. Upon reaching out to her about my situation, She allowed me to work asynchronously as long as I acknowledged the challenges I faced working alone. Her generosity gave me the motivation to try even harder in my online classes. The classes were exactly what I expected coming into this university as a student of digital art and more. Congratulations, Professor Dinkins.
Thank you, Alice, and congratulations, Stephanie. Next up is Chelsea Rahman, who will be presenting the next award.
I'll also be reading an excerpt from one of the nominations we received. Dr. Rest is deeply passionate about teaching this course and getting students to be interested as well. Our class was online and met through Zoom, like many others. Despite the many challenges and new teaching environment, our class ran smoothly and was even better than many in-person classes that I have taken. Many times, Dr. Rest has stayed well past class to help students and answer any questions regarding the material. He is patient and truly cares about his students. Dr. Rest is understanding and sympathetic to students' needs without compromising the integrity of the course. He tries to take into account every student, from those who are keeping up with the pace of the course to those who just need a little more time. I have been to his office hours to ask for advice on getting into the field of bioinformatics. He is a very inspiring professor and goes far beyond to support students. For the last class, he even invited a guest speaker to talk about a career in bioinformatics, which I thought was very different and helpful. He even listed resources and links for students like me who would be interested in pursuing this as a career. I am so grateful for that. I wholeheartedly believe Dr. Joshua Rest is deserving of this reward.
Congratulations, and make sure your children appreciate what you're doing. So nice to see the whole family. Next up is Kimberly Ferrafino.
The following is an excerpt from a student nomination. Dr. Amarante has demonstrated his warm spirit in his field and the supplemental hours he dedicates to his students, offering extra review sessions and listening to his students' concerns. Although unplanned, his review sessions would continue into the late night, almost going into 2 in the morning. Dr. Amarante ensures that his students are well prepared for his exams and even for future advanced courses such as organic chemistry. He is patient with his students and is willing to sit down explaining questions over and over again. If his dedication to his students is not demonstrated in the classroom, then it is also exemplified outside the classroom. As a teaching assistant, I was able to see Dr. Amarante's behind-the-scenes work. With the limited time he has each week, he still ensures that there are weekly meetings for both his undergraduate students and graduate students, even holding 2 undergraduate TA meetings for those with time conflicts. He makes sure his TAs are doing okay by doing weekly check-ins, even if he doesn't have updates or news from his end. With the ongoing pandemic, Dr. Amarante maintains his warm spirit and passion for his field even throughout his Zoom meetings. He maintains his joy and is very understanding of his students' situations, lending an ear when it is needed. His attitude and passion for chemistry motivates students while also pushing students to do their best and challenging those who need that extra push. Congratulations, Dr. Amarante.
Thank you, Kimberly, and congratulations, Dan. Next, I'd like to introduce Jade Nine, who will be awarding our final Godfrey Award.
Hello, everyone. So an excerpt for Allan Kim. This is what a student said about Allan Kim. As a senior thinking back on my university experience, it was Professor Allan Kim that single-handedly made the greatest influence on the past few years of my life. When I was in that class, there was absolutely nowhere else I'd rather be. Professor Kim pushes his students to achieve excellence by gently guiding them to achieve what he knows they are capable of. It was because of this class that I decided to pursue philosophy as my major and have never looked back since.
Does it end there, Jade?
I can read a second excerpt.
Why don't you go ahead?
Okay.
Yep.
Professor Kim has given by far the most memorable philosophy lectures I have attended during my time at Stony Brook University. More often than not, I would leave the class actively thinking about what was being discussed. Professor Kim is great at guiding class discussion, allowing students to ask questions and participate, but also providing insightful input that elucidates what's actually at stake in the problem being discussed. Anyone who's passionate about thinking and philosophy will appreciate classes taught by Professor Kim.
Congratulations, Alan, and thank you, Jade. Sorry about that. I was watching a different script. All right. Warm congratulations. Next, I'd like to introduce the John S. Toll Endowed Award for Teaching Excellence. The John S. Toll Endowed Award for Teaching Excellence at Stony Brook University is presented to a faculty member based on their exceptional teaching and passion for their field of study, as well as for the mentorship of students. Recipients of this award are also selected by the Dean's Student Advisory Council from current and previous year's recipients of the Godfrey Excellence in Teaching Awards. Thanks to generous donor support, this year's recipient will receive a $2,000 prize for research, travel, teaching, or other professional use. And Avi, senior member of my Student Advisory Council, will present this award.
The following is an excerpt from a student nomination, and big congratulations to Professor Lobel. So here goes. I had the pleasure of working under Dr. Marcy Lobel as a teaching assistant for a Psychology of Women's Health course. Dr. Lobel is an exceptional and exemplary scholar. She pours her heart out in everything she does for her students in the university. Dr. Lobel conducts her class in great harmony and fluidity. She sets high expectations for all her students, as she knows such expectations will greatly affect their achievements in the future. She inspires students with her passion for the material she teaches. She listens to her students with an open mind and makes her classroom a safe and personal space for all her students. She constantly innovates as a scholar in her goal to provide students with the highest quality of education possible. She makes sure all of her students establish a friendly, professional working relationship with each other, where all of them are able to contribute in the intellectual advancement of each other. She encourages all her students to become critical thinkers and work effectively as a group. She focuses on her students' strengths and helps students individually turn their own weaknesses into their strengths. She is highly effective in making complex topics appear simple. In addition, she often uses case studies and other available resources to make connections in class to deepen and broaden her students' horizons and understanding on the relevant topics. Dr. Marcy Lobel changed the lives of many students. She changed my life, and she continues to do so even outside of class. She encouraged me to pursue my dreams of becoming a physician, and I'll forever be grateful to her for the rest of my life.
Congratulations, Marcy. Very well deserved. And thank you, Avi, for reading all of those nice comments. Let's give a round of Zoom applause to all of the recipients of the Godfrey Prizes, as well as our Toll awardee before us right now. And then next up, I'd like to introduce our SUNY's Chancellors Award for Excellence, which were just announced recently. We haven't recognized them before in this ceremony, but I would like to acknowledge the dedication and accomplishments of our instructional faculty, librarians, professional staff across SUNY campuses to encourage the ongoing pursuit of excellence. Sorry, I messed that up. Let me try again. These awards acknowledge the dedication and accomplishments of instructional faculty, librarians, and professional staff across SUNY campuses and encourage the ongoing pursuit of excellence. The awards are presented annually in 7 categories, including librarianship, scholarship, and creative activities, professional service, faculty service, teaching, and adjunct teaching. So I'm pleased to acknowledge the following recipients in the category of scholarship and creative activities. Congratulations to Leonie Huddy, Professor and Chair of the Department of Political Science. Very well deserved. In the category of faculty service, congratulations to 3 recipients: Jennifer Albanese, a senior lecturer in the program in writing and rhetoric; Sam Sharma, associate professor in the program in writing and rhetoric; and Celia Marshak, professor in the Department of English. think we're experiencing Zoom lag here as we bring various people up on the screen. Congratulations to all of you. In the category of teaching, congratulations to our 4 recipients: Elise Graham, Associate Professor in the Department of English; Sarah Jourdain, Associate Professor and Chair in the Department of European Languages, Literatures, and Cultures; Eriko Sato, Associate Professor in the Department of Asian and Asian American Studies; and Lorena Salcido-Watson, Lecturer in the Department of Art. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you for all that you do for our students. Next up in the professional category, congratulations to 3 recipients: Cynthia or Cindy Foreman, Assistant to the Chair in the Department of Psychology; Helen Harrison, Eugene V. and Claire E. Thaw, Director of the Pollock Krasner House and Study Center; and Teresa Spadola, Graduate Program Coordinator in the Department of English. Congratulations to all of you on this well-deserved honor. And lastly, I would like to acknowledge the Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Adjunct Teaching with congratulations to Jason Rose in the Department of Political Science. So let's give a round of applause to all of these Chancellor's awardees. It was really heartening to see so many awardees from the College of Arts and Sciences. Thank you. I'd now like to take a moment to thank my outstanding Student Advisory Council, several of whom you've seen, several of whom I've already named, for their amazing feedback and participation over the past year. This has been a year unlike any other in my time at Stony Brook, and this diverse group of students came to each meeting energized, ready to discuss each topic at hand. They brought me all sorts of information as we were moving through the pandemic, from curricular suggestions to the importance of staying engaged with students and how to do it, and of course, for their efforts in promoting and selecting this year's Godfrey Awards recipients. If you follow social media, you may have seen many of them take over the College of Arts and Sciences Instagram channel, providing a bird's eye view of their day in the life as a Seawolf, answering questions about their majors, minors, classes, activities, and more. For their feedback, collaboration, enthusiasm, I want to thank each of them. And I look forward to having many of them back next year. And in fact, some of them have promised to make more videos to help our incoming students socialize back onto campus, showing them all the secret fun spots to study and hang out. But in particular, I'd like to highlight the graduating seniors of this year's council. Avi Bajaj, psychology major with minors in chemistry, as well as health, medicine, and society. Belinda Castablanco, who received her master's degree in Hispanic languages and literatures and the Spanish teacher preparation program in December. Jose Guerra, biochemistry major with minors in both chemistry and music. Mohammed Harb, double major in sociology and biology. Taylor Esposito, political science and philosophy major with minors in United States history and professional writing. And Jade Nine, major in Asian American studies and mathematics. Good luck to each of you. Thank you again for being an ambassador to the college, and you'll always be a Seawolf. So we look forward to hearing back from you and what great things you do as you go out into this world that we're living in today. Finally, I'd like to just acknowledge many donors to the College of Arts and Sciences who help make many things possible. We've actually had 2 giving days in the past 7 months, as well as crowdfunding efforts to support our Student Emergency Fund. We've been asking a lot of our donors, and over 2,200 alumni, friends, faculty, staff, and foundations have supported the college and its programs in the last year. The college's spring 2021 Giving Day efforts raised a very significant amount thanks to your support, and as well as a generous challenge match by Professor Squires, Emerita Professor in the Department of Psychology, and also my predecessor in the Dean's Office, Emerita Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. We're using these funds to support many things associated with research for our students, including supporting our senior student artists through the purchase of their amazing works of art that are now on display at the annual Senior Art Show. You can actually go in between hours of 12 and 2 and walk around the gallery and see their excellent artwork. Here are a couple of examples, and we will also be using those funds raised to support, as I mentioned, research grants, seed grants for teams of researchers, particularly those involving our undergraduate and graduate students. With that, I'd like to thank you for joining us today at the 7th annual Difference You Make. Here's hoping that next year we will actually be able to gather in person to celebrate our accomplishments. But I want to congratulate everyone again. Thank you for spending this evening with us. Enjoy the rest of your evening and see you soon. Take care and be well.